Today was supposed to be the big day that Donald Trump was going to pony up $454 million or else. But guess what? Trump actually got a minor victory in this battle, despite the fact they are still throwing the weight of New York State at him, not to mention all the other cases he has. He'll have to pay $175 million in order to appeal, and he's being given an additional 10 days to pay. Now, I want to stress, it's a minor victory for Trump because he is winning, but you could argue that this is a big ask on the part of the New York State government. The judge says, give us literally everything you have or else. And then Trump appeals, or he requests a lower amount of bond to $100 million. They come back and go, okay, fine, just give us half of everything you have. So 175, of course, is not half of 454. What I mean is $454 million in cash actually exceeds what Trump has in cash, as he stated. I believe the payment he'd have to pay is more than, I believe it's closer to like 500 and some odd million now with interest because it's accruing every single day. But for the bond, he'd have to pay the full amount. He currently has, according to the New York Times, somewhere around $350 to $375 million. So they're basically saying, give us half of your free cash right now. I think you would have to liquidate stocks. Otherwise, you can't appeal at all. Yo, this is still absolutely wild. I want to give credit where credit is due and point out Trump got this victory in this current battle, but it's still not winning. I mean, like, he's winning this current battle, but this shouldn't be happening in the first place. So we do have this and a bunch of other news. Frank Luntz, top GOP pollster, is warning Letitia James that if she starts seizing Trump's property, you're going to get Donald Trump elected. I agree. The polls show it. The sentiment shows it. New York has crossed the line. These people are psychopaths. Let's read the news. It was supposed to be, as I stressed, the big news is going to be what Trump was going to do. Are they going to seize his buildings? Freeze his bank accounts? Trump's got another week and a half here. CNBC reports. A New York appeals court on Monday paused for 10 days a massive civil fraud judgment against Trump and sharply reduced the bond to $175 million. The ruling by a panel of judges came on the same day that New York Attorney General Letitia James would have been allowed to start seizing his real estate and bank accounts. The appeals court ruling, for now, prevents James from doing so. Trump's lawyers, who had previously suggested the bond be set at $100 million in a court filing last week, said that it was impossible for him to get an appeal bond of $454 million. Yes, as Kevin O'Leary pointed out, this has quite literally never happened before. A $500 million bond. None of these companies are willing to write that bond because they can't. Because of the size of the fraud judgment, the companies insisted that Trump show cash reserves approaching $1 billion. But neither Trump nor the Trump Organization company has that amount of cash on hand. And quite literally, almost, I think in only extremely rare circumstances is an institution going to have $1 billion in cash sitting around. And namely, that's going to be like a bank or something. Maybe a casino. The fraud judgment stems from a lawsuit filed by New York Attorney General Letitia James against Trump, blah, blah, blah. We get it. We have this from Reuters. This was from this morning. Trump has hours to cover his $454 million judgment, but this has been updated and should now reflect that Trump basically won this pause, this minor victory. Now, before we get into the politics here, let me tell you about the dirty nature that is the actions taken by New York State. The New York Times wrote this story, March 19th, updated the 25th, this morning. What we know about Trump's quest for a $500 million bond. This is important politically. Let's start here. What was Trump accused of? Ms. James took Mr. Trump and his company and his adult sons to trial last fall, accusing them of fraudulently inflating the value of golf clubs, office buildings, and other properties to the tune of about $2 billion. Mr. Trump exaggerated the property values and, in turn, his own net worth to obtain favorable terms from banks and insurers, according to Ms. James. At the trial, which lasted months, Mrs. James' lawyers argued that Mr. Trump's company had ignored appraisals and manipulated numbers to sometimes absurd degrees. The reason why I show this to you, my friends, because fake news, New York Times. You see, this is the dirty game they play. There's so many people that are either in on it or outright lying. Let me pull this one up for you to debunk, very simply, this narrative. At the trial, which lasted months, here's one for you. New York civil investigation of the Trump Organization. In September 2023, Enron issued a summary judgment. There was no trial. Summary judgment. What does that mean? Summary judgment in law, a summary judgment, also referred to as a judgment as a matter of law, is a judgment entered by a court for one party and against another party summarily, i.e., without a full trial. They are lying. Let me explain to you once again. Oh, I just got to say this. Whenever we have a major debunk, here over at Timcast News, I request you share this video with people you know, okay? It's plain as day. Please just Google it yourselves. The New York Times says, at the trial, which lasted months, Mrs. James' lawyers argued that his company lies. In September 2023, Engoron issued a summary judgment that Trump and his company had committed fraud for years. A summary judgment does not have a full trial. They held a separate trial later on whether or not documents had been altered fraudulently, not whether or not Trump had committed fraud. That was determined outright summary judgment. Bang, you did it. Next, was Trump personally liable for the documents? Now, here's what's really important about this. They say that fraudulently inflated the value. Okay, how many of you own a car? What's that car worth? Tell me. What's the car worth? You got a Tesla Model 3? All right, let's do this. Let's see, Tesla Model 3. Let's do a 2022, not the newest. Let's see, car and driver. Let's pull this one up. Here we go. A 2022 Tesla Model 3 starting at $48,400. Okay. How many of you have, say, a Tesla Model 3? I know they're very popular cars. So you bought it for $48,000. It's 2022. Let's do this. Let's do a 2024 because their prices are lower. Let's say you bought it new. Okay. You bought it at $40,000. You drive it off the lot. It's got 10 miles on it, and you think to yourself, I just don't like it. I think I made a mistake. I'm going to sell this one. What's it worth? Do you have an answer? This is the game, okay? Clearly, you just bought the thing. There were fees attached, so you're already in the whole $45,000 on this car and maybe got a loan for it. If you want to sell it, you got to pay back that loan of at least $45,000. You can't sell it for more than the new cost already. So if it's at a dealership for $45,000 and you drove it off the lot, you ain't getting $45,000 for it because I might as well just go buy it. What if you said $40,000? What if you said $40,000? What if you went to someone and said, look, I literally just drove it off the lot, had it in my driveway for a couple of days, realized I made a mistake. I don't want it. I'm going to eat a lot of money on this one because of my loan and the fees that were attached to it, but I'll sell it for $40,000 right now. You buy it from me. It is used, but it's basically brand new and you're not paying those fees. And then what happens when New York goes, that car's not worth $40,000. It's at least a 20% drop in price the moment you drive it off the lot. Everyone knows. And you say, it's my car and I'm going to choose to sell it for what I want. And the other person says, you're committing fraud by inflating the value of your car when wagering that. That's what they did. Donald Trump approaches these banks and says, this building, they say it's worth $200 million. I think it's $250. The bank then does their own appraisal and says, we give it a value of $200. This is what the loan's going to be. Trump says, okay, we're done. They are lying about everything. They are claiming that because Trump valued his own properties at what he wanted to, that's fraud, despite the fact the banks value it at what they want it to. How was he punished? Well, we know this, $450 million. He can appeal. The appeal bond is $454 million. Trump would need to pledge significant collateral, about $557 million. It's insane. New York Times says he has around $350 million in cash, but I thought he was a billionaire. You're going to love this one. While Mr. Trump has long bragged about his wealth, his true financial position remains something of a mystery. Most of his fortune is tied up in real estate holdings, which bond companies don't typically accept as collateral. He also has less liquid collateral viable than he even did a few weeks ago. Mr. Trump had to post a $91.6 million bond in the defamation case he lost to E. Jean Carroll. For that, he most likely had to pledge more than $100 million in collateral to Chubb, the insurance company that provided the guarantee. While he's bragged about his wealth, he doesn't have $500 million. Dude, anybody who's worth $1 billion doesn't have half of that in cash. That's insane. Trump's value is in his real estate. We've always known that. He's the reality TV real estate mogul. So they set the deadline. They said they can go after the properties. Easier said than done, blah, blah, blah. Could she throw him in jail? It's a civil case. Enron could issue an arrest warrant if Trump repeatedly flouts court orders, but this is not likely going to happen. So here we are today, my friends. This is where we currently end up. Trump claims he has the cash, but doesn't want to use it. Why? This is what they are doing. Understand this. Trump says he's going to use this money for his campaign. He's already had to put up nearly $100 million for the defamation case, where a woman 30 years ago, or claims that 30 years ago, he sexually abused her. There's no evidence. There's no witnesses, but they rule against Trump anyway. It's insane. And now he's got to pay $100 million. Wow. What do you do? What do you do? And the issue for Trump is that New York is his state, and his state's been taken over by communists. If Trump was based out of West Virginia, none of this would be happening. New York can file all the claims they want against him, and he'd be like, screw off. But the reality is Trump has a lot of his wealth to lose. Trump Tower, Trump Hotel. How many Trump buildings are in New York? 4? Let's make sure. How many Trump buildings in New York? Probably more than that. So in New York City, I think is the what I'm really interested in. I think it's 4. 4 official Trump buildings, or is there 3? It could be 3. There's the Trump Tower on 5th Avenue. There's the Trump condos. I don't know what that one's called by the UN. And then there's Trump the International Hotel, which is in Columbus Circle. And he may have others, but I actually don't know. But they can seize all of that from him. And then that's kind of the point. That's the issue. If it was any other state, he could probably walk away. Bad news for Trump. Mike Cernovich actually points out it's worse than people realize. He said, I read the full Trump ruling fining him $500 million, and it's worse than reported. For example, Trump paid back the post office, the D.C. hotel, not even New York. He paid the loan in full and made $126 million in profit. The judge stole it all, claiming Trump shouldn't have gotten the loan. When Donald Trump sold the old post office hotel, he paid off the Deutsche Bank loan, and the following profits were distributed. $126 million to Trump, $4 million to Eric, $4 million to Trump Jr., $4 million to Ivanka. It's really amazing. He gave equal shares to his 3 kids. When questioned about Weisselberg's guilty plea to tax fraud in connection with the employment of the Trump organization, Donald Trump challenged that Weisselberg had committed any wrongdoing. Overall, Trump rarely responded to the question in general, blah, blah, blah. Here's what they're doing. The judge is claiming that because the loan was predicated upon false evaluation, it doesn't matter that Trump made money for Deutsche Bank. It doesn't matter that Trump profited and everyone was made whole. What matters is Trump thought the property was worth more than it actually was. Who sets value? If I say that this, you can see the edge of this skateboard. Where is it? Right there. It's a skateboard right there. If I said that skateboard's worth $2,000, is that fraud? No, it means I want to sell it and I want $2,000 for it. I'm allowed to do that, right? What if I went to someone and said, I could sell this for $2,000. So you give me a loan for $1,000, and if I can't pay it back, you can have the skateboard. They then come and take a look at it and go, I don't see this skateboard selling for $2,000. I see it selling for $1,000, maybe $1,000. We'll give you a $500 loan. And then I go, sure. How is that fraud? Absolutely insane. Well, here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Frank Luntz says that if they do this, if they take Trump's property, Trump gonna win. Luntz is probably correct. Luntz warned Attorney General Letitia James against seizing Trump's properties. This is probably why they dropped the deadline. They moved the deadline and dropped the price because they realized if Trump plays a game of chicken with them and they go and take his buildings, then Trump says, they've just seized my buildings. This is insane. I mean, yeah, you'd be in serious trouble. I think Trump should probably even not pay this $175 million. Imagine if in 10 days, Trump says, it's an absurdity that I would have to pay nearly $200 million in cash for the right to appeal a verdict in which there wasn't even a trial held. Let them try and seize his properties. Trump will raise so much money if they do. I have to wonder. Trump would probably have more money if he just sold the property and it took the cash. The former president's bank accounts could be frozen and his beloved buildings seized. However, Luntz, a trusted pollster by GOP for decades, not in past 10 years, has said that James only stands to help Trump in his rematch with President Joe Biden in November if she begins taking his assets. If they take his stuff, he's going to say that this is proof that the federal government and the establishment and the swamp in Washington, that this is a conspiracy to deny him the presidency. Luntz, who is considered an anti-Trump Republican, believes that Trump will be able to create the greatest victimhood of 2024 if he starts having his property stolen from him by an establishment politician like James, and all in the public eye. I agree with Luntz. He's going to go up in the polls just like he went up every single time they indicted him, Luntz said. Not only that, but it typified what he believes is the stupidity of the Democrats and the never-Trumpers attempting to stop him. In the 7 swing states, Trump is up by the margin of error in 5 out of 7. Why is that happening? Because his critics are stupid and they're running a horrible campaign. The Attorney General formally registered judgments in Westchester County, where Trump has the 2 properties just north of Manhattan on March 6th. According to the county clerk's online database, the judgments were registered against Trump, the Trump organization, and his 2 adult sons, Don Jr. and Eric. The action was first reported by Bloomberg News. It comes as Trump is facing a deadline to secure the order. This we know, and we've moved a bit beyond this. But let's roll, baby. Donald Trump is leading Biden in 7 swing states. This as of February 29th. Leap day, I might add. Hope you all had a good leap day and got all your leap day candy. The Bloomberg News Morning Consult poll found Biden trailing Trump in several most critical states: Arizona, Georgia, Pennsylvania, Michigan, North Carolina, Nevada, and Wisconsin. Let's play that game, baby. You ready for 270 to win? So Donald Trump's got Arizona, Georgia, Pennsylvania, Michigan, North Carolina, Nevada, and Wisconsin. Let's take it. We got Wisconsin going Trump. We got Georgia going Trump. We got Arizona going Trump. We got Nevada going Trump. We got North Carolina all ready for Trump. What am I missing? Pennsylvania and Michigan. Michigan, Trump. Pennsylvania, Trump. Why, my friends, if this trend continues, it's going to be 312 Republican to Democrats 226. Trump wins. 270 to win has the current map. Let's refresh it here and see if it. Okay, it's not going to. Is there a reset button on this one? 2024 electoral votes. Here's the 2020 map. Wait, what? It didn't change. That is incorrect. Why didn't. Okay, there we go. Wait. Oh, this map is getting silly. I don't know how to reset it, and now it's giving me the business. Oh, I see. I'm sorry. What we're looking at here is states that have lost or gained electoral college votes. So California lost 1. Michigan, PA, and Ohio, and New York all lost 1. Illinois lost. Texas gained 2. Florida gained 1. And that is from, I believe, from the census where everybody fled these states. So as of right now, this is what we're looking at with 312. Let's say that Trump gets all these states, but he loses in Arizona. Why? We don't trust Arizona. Let's say Arizona goes blue. 301 Republicans. They still win. Okay. Let's say Nevada goes blue. 295 Republicans. Okay, now hold on. Oh, what's going on here? Let's say Georgia jumps as well. Still 279. Trump could lose 3 of these states. Now, I'm not so sure about Georgia. Arizona, I think, goes blue because we saw what happened with Kerry Lake where the voting machines were busted, but they didn't care and they said election's fine. So I don't see Arizona surviving this one. But let's say Georgia also goes blue because in Georgia, we don't really trust how things operate down there. So if Trump has Nevada, North Carolina, Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Wisconsin, he's still up at 285. He could even lose Michigan and still hit the 270 to win. It is looking phenomenal right now with the current polling and the current makeup of states. It could be that we actually see things that are shocking because of the third party. Now, I don't know if we can get the third party added in here. I don't think so. Oh, there's the reset map button. So 2020. Okay, I don't understand. It's not. You are viewing the 2024 census. Okay. Let's say Georgia goes Democrat. Arizona goes Democrat. Nevada goes Republican. Wisconsin goes Democrat. Michigan goes Republican. Pennsylvania goes Republican. It's 286. Wisconsin, I'm sorry. I have Arizona wrong. So Arizona, Georgia, and Wisconsin, I think are good candidates for actually going blue despite the polling. But that means with Nevada, Michigan, Pennsylvania, North Carolina. I believe that's what it was, North Carolina. Are we getting this one? Am I getting it right? North Carolina. That sets Trump on a path to victory at 275. But here's what I think is also being missed. There is a decent possibility that you actually see, I don't really think so, but maybe even like in Nebraska, we get Nebraska full red. How do I set Nebraska full red? What are we doing here? The state. And there's 3 special zones. It's strongly possible that we actually get Nebraska, all 5 going to Trump. Let's say 1 in Omaha's deep blue. That's still 275 Republican. I think it's entirely possible that we could see an upset in a place like Virginia, but I'm not entirely sure. New Hampshire, probably not, but maybe. But with a third party split, Maine could theoretically go red. Why? Because Joe Biden will lose out on a ton of votes thanks to RFK Jr., resulting in Trump actually winning with a minority position. In California, we had a Senate race, and it was actually fairly tied between the front runner for the Senate, Adam Schiff, and I forgot the Republican's name. However, it's because there were 3 Democrat candidates and 1 Republican. That vote split gives the Republican a chance, but ultimately it goes to a runoff. I could be wrong. And then the Democrat's going to win. Now, in other states where it's winner take all and we don't do runoffs, it's entirely possible that with RFK Jr., Trump wins with 35% of the vote, and the map could look very, very different. Right now, Trump is ahead in all of these states. Assuming no malfeasance, handily wins. We'll see. 10 more days. Next segment is coming up at 4 p.m. on this channel. Thanks for hanging out. We'll see you all then.